Today is a special day according to Christian tradition. And the theme of my sermon is to finding hope in the world. And today is Pentecost Day. So in Sweden, I start here, maybe I read from the Bible, John 14:15. It says like this: "If you love me, you will keep my commandments, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another helper, which will be with you forever. This helper is the Spirit of truth, which the world is not able to receive, because it does not see it or know it. You know it, for it's present with you and will be in you. I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you. A little while longer, and the world will see me no more. But you will see me. Because I live, you will live also. In that day, you will know that I'm in the union with my Father, and you are in the union with me, and I'm in the union with you. Whoever has my commandment and keeps them, that is the one who loves me. And whoever loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and will reveal myself to him." So, how to feel hope in a world where there are a lot of struggles and where there are a lot of disappointments? Well, this Pentecost reading is actually from after Jesus died, right? So we think about Jesus' disciples, and I'm thinking about this because I heard this sermon a few weeks ago for a Christian minister, and they explained that when Jesus' disciples, when Jesus went to the cross and died, they felt no hope. They felt all the expectation, all the hope that Jesus will become victorious, become the king, was so invested in. And then suddenly everything was lost. It seemed like God was not there anymore. But then he came back spiritually. We see him spiritually. And then he leaves again. And then they feel hope because they feel that he continues to live. And these words are from Jesus' encouragement to his disciples. So when the Pentecost is celebrating, because when the Christian believers comes together in belief, having hope, coming together, manifesting that hope, then they have these spiritual experiences. And that turns on then that Christianity can be developed. We know that Jesus didn't come to develop Christianity. He came to save the world, substantially bringing in a new world. But because of not fully belief, he could not fulfill his mission, as we know from other, because he couldn't get married. He didn't find his only begotten daughter. He has to go the way of the cross. But the disciples still had faith in him, and they could continue to move on. So as Christians, we are in the same position. And unification is as we are in the same position as Christians, to still have that hope. And that is, of course, always important to have in life. Have hope, have faith that moves us on. And to deal with challenges and struggles. So from the divine principle, I can read then the desire, which people often consider sinful, is actually God-given. Joy is the purpose of creation, and joy can only be attained when the desire is fulfilled. So desire is important, but it's also important to have the right type of desire, same type of perspectives. And then we know that because of fallen nature, we don't get the right perspective. We say from principle, we say we fail to take God's viewpoint. From the fall came that, right? And then we're leaving our position. We don't do the right things in life. And we became dominated by bad things. And then not only we suffer from bad things, but we also maybe even cause other people to suffer through our own behavior. So this we need to restore, and this, of course, humanity. And this is like we don't know how to get out of it. But at least the principle gives us sort of a model, a formula, an understanding how we should deal with it. Because the challenge is then for us to apply it. So to apply it, we say that we should see things from the highest ethical point of view. We should think, what can actually be God's point of view? What can be really God's desire? What is the best thing to accomplish in this world? Not just looking from my point of view, but see from the whole point of view. And then try to take responsibility for it. To understand some goals, how can I achieve it? And then try to implement it. And then seeing the fruit of it is seeing people's response. People respond well about my good effort, then I can feel, I can feel hope. The system works. I can feel hope in this very clouded, drowned world. I can feel some hope to move on. So for us, it's always important to try to see things, to identify the highest good. Where is God in all of this? And not just see for myself. Of course, people can have a hope for personal reasons, but here we're talking about really try to see things from God's point of view. And then implementing it and seeing the response. So your members, we know foundation of faith and foundation substance. I think about this, that as a religious people, there is very much this vertical line. There's two ways at the vertical, that we have God as authority and we bow to God and we follow God. And every religious doctrine is trying to ensure that people have to follow the right code, the right way. But then there's kind of conflicts because people have different understanding of what is the right way, because they're unable to really see from God's point of view. So then you have the schisms and conflicts. We are struggling with this, right? Even our own movement. We have our determination. So then people say, well, there's no absolute right way. We just get along with each other anyway on a horizontal level. So then we get along and get fine. But where is the center? What's the purpose? And that is also the problem. People can get along and have good relationship. I hear that some people say, oh, but we're getting along. We're having fun. We're living a good life. Yes, but where is God? Where is the higher purpose in all of this? If it's lacking, you cannot really build that kind of spark that can be kind of that object with God. So there's a difference in type of relationship between the vertical relationship and the horizontal relationship. The vertical is, of course, causal. It comes from ideas, and you manifest these ideas, you can see the fruit of the ideal. But horizontal relationship is interactive. So that's between people. I cannot tell other people what to do. Other people cannot tell me. They can give me advice and try to tell me, but I'm not maybe doing it unless I'm forced to. But then there's no heart into it. So the heart is to combine, the trick is to combine these two lines, right? The vertical and the horizontal. And that is important when we do this, because foundation of faith, I feel, is this vertical line. First, we have to make the conditions. We will talk about having faith. But then we also need to do the foundation substance to win the other person. But that's the interactive relationship. And we do that set on the vertical line. That's how the principle explained it. So in a world where there are many challenges, we reflect upon the struggle the disciples had at Jesus' death. And we, as also unificationists, we receive a lot of persecution. And we have members from Japan that can tell a lot about that, or the injustice we face. But we can also face it on our personal level. We feel persecuted, not respected. And then we see all the wars and conflicts going on in this world today. How can people feel hope, actually, in this world? It seemed like we are receiving something. So I know that True Parents really talks about one element of our faith is not only how I can receive hope, but I also have to be able to be a person who can give hope, right? That's the foundation substance. I have hope, but I have to share it. And that really makes it a dynamism in all of this. So for many years, of course, we know that Father, we have to also restore our nation. So this is the common point. I'm thinking about this again with True Mother and True Father. Sometimes I've been following the discussion, people say that there are differences. But fundamentally, I feel there is no difference. On the fundamental points, there is no differences. They both want to build a better world. The world want to be manifest and see God's kingdom on earth. And they all want us to be part of that. And we all have a responsibility to do it. but how do we find an object partner? How do we interact with other people in a good way? That's always our challenge. And that's why I want to give this testimony I had now with us working with the World Peace Award event. So for those who don't know, the World Peace Award is founded by Pramatin Bunten, a Buddhist monk who attended our events in Korea many years ago. He attended many times, and he was witnessed by one Japanese brother, Kenzo, and he has attended events. So he got the inspiration to do a similar event here in Sweden. And we have been actually, for many years ago, now, the advantage when you are getting older, you can really have perspective in life. So things seem like last year, maybe they're like 20, 30 years back. So we had these events, we got sponsored. We had to bring people, we got money and sponsorship to do these big events. And it cost a lot of money. And then we got it again, money, sponsorship in national headquarters. And we did it. And I always felt bad because how do we follow up on these events? How can we make it continuously? We didn't have the resources to do it. So I was very inspired. I remember when Bunten came to Ingmarie and said, oh, we should do a similar event here. He had said to Mother, big picture, how we're going to bless 10,000 couples. And he's going to do big things like that. He had said to Mother. So we all wonder, how's that going to work out? Is it really going to work? Oh, yeah, great. We go with hope. And it didn't really turn out that way exactly. But I still kept hope. I saw him as the John the Baptist figure, namely. So I kept going with him. So I've been supporting him and doing this event. Sometimes, of course, I wonder myself, what's the purpose with this line? But then I try to think, well, maybe God works through him and I can interact with him. I can work together. So I want to share this part. So I made this leaflet invitation, sent it out. And there's this in Thai. And I understood that he's quite famous in the Thai community, though. Someone else told me that, oh, they know about Bunten. Because actually, he's quite senior. He's the vice Buddhist leader in the whole Europe. And he has connections with people around the king and things like that. So he's very prominent. We got access through him. We got to meet the ambassadors, but they change the ambassadors all the time. So this is the event now he arranged 2 weeks ago in the very nice facility of Stockholm Concert Hall. And then... so that was in a special hall, not the very main hall, but it's another nice hall called Grünewaldsalen with very special paintings and so on. And for me personally, of course, I'd like to say again that Grünewald is one of our most famous painters and artists, and he made this kind of a little bit, I don't know, my wife thought it was a little bit fallen pictures, but nobody thinks about it when naked people inside that. Maybe the best, but anyway, it's nice painting. For me personally, this, like one artist mentioned that, anyway, he's a colleague of my own grandfather, so they were working together. So I feel some personal connection to that place anyway. And here I'm giving a presentation at this nice venue. And what am I trying to do then? So my thinking is like this, how can I align myself with God with this event here? I'm just doing the practical things, helping with the invitation and bringing people, but then I'm trying to then give some kind of content and inspiration. And it's always my struggle. I want to give more message. We know that Father invests so much in his seminars, but I try to give something very briefly content. And I'm not going to go through the content, but I'm just wanting to point out then that I recognize that this year, it's actually 100 years since the Swedish bishop, Nathan Söderblom, I think Karin went there because they celebrated in the church in Sundbyberg now. And this year, Swedish Church recognized it. Nathan Söderblom did something, I think, very unique. He decided after the World War at that time to invite other Christian leaders to come together and make peace centered on God and really Christian faith. It was only the Christian communities at that time. And from this, he actually received the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize. And so I tried to bring that in, how interfaith topic is important. And then I also tried to explain a little bit unification content about mind and body. And for Buddhists, it's very simple because they always talk about meditation. Through meditation, you make peaceful. I like to introduce also a concept that actually this is also the mind and body and the spirit and body and our whole religion basically have these concepts. So, if you look at human identity, human relationships, there is some common base there. which in world scripture illustrate very well. And so my thinking is always that if we can find a common base which center on the spirituality, we have an alternative to the secular materialistic world order, which actually is all the wars, all the conflicts, all the struggles is based on. So it basically is providentially, like we talk about, we had to go from Satan's world order to God's world order, but these are very brutal concepts. But the concepts are manifested in materialism, I would say, and I would like to say humanism that recognize human spirit and human origin as God's creature. So that's a good foundation. It is, so anyway, that's my contribution. I give that speech and I interact with people. I'm not sure how much people do understand and receive it, but I always get very good feedback anyway, and I will say a little bit more about that. Another aspect of this, then of course other people want to come and speak also. And this, you come and wonder who sponsored this event. Actually sponsored by there are some business groups sponsoring Ubuntu's events, but also people pay themselves to come to these events. So I realized that we don't have that statue yet. We don't have that recognition that people were willing to pay, hopefully in the future, to come to our events. So that's why we collaborate with other people. And they come here and make a point. But it's also very many times very good people I meet. So I will take this as an example. Here is the ambassador, Dr. Palita Kohona. He's an ambassador. He's from Sri Lanka, and he was a high prominent diplomat for Sri Lanka, traveling in Russia and China. He was in China. He was in America twice, ambassador to the United States, ambassador to UN. If you're ambassador at that level, you're a very prominent ambassador for that country. So it's very nice to have that conversation with him. We discussed many things. We had a good conversation, and then he said, you need to come to Sri Lanka next time. We can have this event there. So he was, of course, head of some kind of university, so we could come there and have event. So I would say that this is kind of very good people I would never meet otherwise. And here's another one. He became actually my roommate. He's from Uganda. He's also interesting. So it's it's a little bit odd to see a black African Buddhist monk, right? And he was very much like an American, like that Western. So it didn't fit my. But actually, he was born Christian and then went to study in India, I think it was, and then he became a Buddhist. And now, actually, and in Uganda, came back, and we have our church foundation there in Uganda. So actually, he became ambassador of peace through UPF. I saw I'm a member of our family federation, UPF. Oh, I'm an ambassador of peace for UPF also. So that was interesting. And he's also started making this Buddhist career because he started school, and then he taught about his education program. He had the 5H. He taught about the head, handicraft, people had to be practical, combine that, but also having a good heart and having hope in life, So that was kind of interesting. That's also another good contact I got to meet. Hopefully can collaborate well in the future. And here's we have Professor Najaris, she's from Afghanistan, and she went join our Women's Federation meeting last year. She was here 2 years ago. Yeah. So Kiki, know her. She came to the Women's Federation meeting, and she was very happy to see me. So of course, I was very happy to see her. She was happy to see me, and we shared a little bit, a little give and take there. It feels good, right? See what it goes to, but she's positive. And then also I invited this my contact. Then he's Kai Engelhardt. He's quite well known in Sweden. He's not a clerk. He works for the Catholic Church, and he's also when Sweden broadcast the Pope the Christmas Eve, they have a program broadcasting from the Vatican, the Pope. They do that in Sweden. Then he's a commentator for that. So he has a broad, long range, many years experience of working with interfaith groups. And he works with this project called God's House in Sweden, with having this meeting place. So we have known him. He has been on some other events we have been. I've known him since before, invited him before. But I invited him to come here, and he was, I think, very happy with it. He's asked me if we can meet again and talk. So this is also a good reason. Like I'm thinking about this is a platform to interact with people who are good, and you can find these good people. Here's another one. He's the Imam of Adolma, also works with Kai, and they work on this God's house. And so he gave also the speech there. So I gave the schedule is a little bit like I always try to have a lot of content. So Buntin likes to give the awards and the prizes, and that's why people want to come. They want to receive the awards. But I said we need to have a conference and a discussion also. So I always want to have like 2 days like this. But it never works out that way. So it just works out like 2 hours to the best time. And then I try to be happy with that. And then I realized that people don't want to hear too many lectures and too presentations, so they had to give 10 minutes and then give some presentation. So anyway, so you think maybe don't get so much done in 10 minutes and said something, but then you manage to communicate something, and then you meet around each other afterwards. Here's another contact of mine. I was actually already in contact with my mother. He's an artist, and we share also these ideas because I try to see how can I explain principle, the invisible manifested in the object. And so we have this like kind of very spiritual discussion many times, and he's very much interested, and he really likes also when I try to share these more principal ideas with it. So he gave his experience as an artist, and actually he made some quite prominent work. But he showed me actually he made this in the Arlanda airport. If you go to Sky City, there's some big statues there. He made us, so he's quite known and established, and so there's also good contact to have and to share with and interact with. And I think that I realized more also mothers emphasizing more the art, and I think that that's very important because it can reach not only the heart, but it can also give a different explanation of things. When academics deal with it, they tend to think too horizontally, but artists have a more vertical mindset. So I think that's also a good way to introduce issues. So this was some explain of the on the awards. They received the awards there. And this is also an interesting man. I get to know these people from Georgia, not in the United States, but the neighboring country to Russia, was part of the Soviet Union. Georgia, for those who don't know, I would say that they are in a similar situation as Ukraine is before the war. They are divided in very anti-Russian feelings and then also strong Russian feelings. And this group here, they really want to come to the West, and they get sponsorship by America. And so I wonder how can you bring the school kids over here, but they get sponsorship to come over here, and they want to come here as much as possible because they want to learn about the West and everything. But they're also very Christian and traditional. And then I will show you pictures about them, but then I want to show this man. He is a doctor, and he does art show, and he do a lot of very, very positive. He has this theory of hope. So he has on his love message, he wants to give out hope to people, and he helps things as a doctor. So he's doing great work, actually, for us to following up on. And here's also another friend contact of mine. She is an actress, and she was at the later session, she became the master of ceremony. I hold the first discussion ceremony service, and then she did the second part. So it's also one. And here's my sister singing with Martin, who Laura also knows from Uppsala. He's a fantastic local guy, also doing a lot of local events and connecting with people. And he's also very positive to coming here. Also, I want to say this, that they do this for free, standing up here. Sometimes I try to give them some, there's not much finances in this, unfortunately, but this time they just came. Sometimes I give them some small traveling expenses, I have some allowances to give them, but this time I didn't have any money, but they came for free, just happy to be part of it and sharing it. So they're making it like a big condition also for this. And of course, the thing is for peace, but it's also very clearly message is understood. It's not just a in a political sense, peace without war, but it's a peace that grows from inside ourselves. So here's the Georgian dancing group. They did some local performance. So they have this, I think it was, I don't know, 15 students coming over. Here's another friend of mine, contact. She's also an artist. We think the same way. She had an exhibition actually in Engelbrektskyrkan, and she met the priest there and showing her Christian arts. And she wanted to give some presentation there, but she wanted to give a lot of slides. I say, there's no time for that. You have to cut it down. So I had some argument with her, but anyway, it worked out peacefully afterwards. Sometimes like that. Now, I maybe didn't put this in the right order, but then we went anyway to. I should do like this, that we went on a cruise after. After this show was over, we went to a cruise to Finland as part of the thing event. We always do that. We go to Tallinn or to Helsinki, and here we are on the boat, the terminal. I don't know. There's so many pictures taken. They're taking pictures every time. So I used to like to take pictures myself, but I get burned out. But then I realized, oh, I need to have some picture. The Jeanette was helping me taking some pictures. But there's so many pictures. I just took a few here. But I want to go back to this one. This slide, maybe I should come in a little later because because I thought this was also so interesting. Because what I'm feeling here is like some divine guidance. I'm going to talk about it later on, but now the slide is here. So we went to Helsinki, and then we said it's Peace Walk, and we go to the main church. I'll show you a building there. And then in that main church there, so they are taking pictures again, picture time, always like that. And then they go in and look. But it's nice thing, the Buddhist monks go in there together, and then they do their chant. They did it at another church, but then someone told them to go out and stop doing it. They felt it was a little bit too much. But this time, actually, I saw that I wasn't there at that time, actually, but I saw a video later on. He showed me the video. Oh, they were praying there. I think it's very nice. It's like an interfaith symbol. I came in a little later on, but of course, everyone just looking at it. It was always like that. We go touristy, people looking at things, but I don't. I like to go and sit down and pray. Feel for the praise, have the respect. So I went to praying there. But then I saw a sign. This is right before 12 o'clock. So the boat comes around 10 in the morning. And so we take the walk over to Helsinki from the cruise, and then it's just a 20 minutes walk. And then we stand there, and so then suddenly at 12 o'clock, he says, here we have every day prayer for peace. And so I thought it was nice. So he was reading in Finnish and English. And the sermon was over 50 minutes. And after I went up there, oh, this is really nice. I'm on a peace tour, and now we just suddenly came over here for the prayer, and he was so inspired also to hear that this connection. Then the way back from the church, I met with another friend of mine who I got to know, and then suddenly said we'll go in here to the city hall. I didn't realize it was city hall. It was the back end of city hall, so it didn't look so big, but it was huge. And then they had this, also thought it was very interesting, a university presentation about how to find confidence, how to restore society. It was like problem with I can't really see now, but there were some things about discussion about society. And I really felt this again was so interesting. There was an international group of students in Finland, and talking about how to bring hope for democracy. They show statistics that many people in Finland, and I said, well, the same in Sweden, probably everywhere, they started getting delusionalized by democracy because they don't feel power anymore. So I think this is another, I thought why I take this, because it's another expression of, you can see how people are discontent in our society. I grew up in a society where people were very confident in the public institution, confident in the policies of the government, now can do it. But now we're realizing people are not anymore so confident. They're looking for something new. And we need to offer that solution. We need to identify the problems, and we can see, do we have a solution? How can we help people to understand? How can we help and be that bridge between the people and our Heavenly Parents? So more nice pictures here, and there's some friends I met on the boat there, so I should have a nice picture of Pramod Ubuntu, but I missed that. But he's the one, then, for those who don't know him, he is, so you see me there on the left, on the right maybe, let's see, and then on the left side, are you looking? There is the African man from Uganda, Buddhist monk, and then next to him is Pramod Ubuntu, is the main one. And then the other one is some also prominent person. And he's a Thai, but he lives in Canada. He was also some doctor somewhere, and we became friends also. So that's why I showed that little happy face there. Papicha. And here I'm together with a Georgian group. So that was also nice. To the end, I said to the teacher, she has been coming now many years. That's sure down there in the green. So they had some question. We didn't have time for Q&A. So some George students come on, we can make Q&A. I said, we'll do it later on. So I said, well, let's do now the Q&A. So they have questions, because they seem very inquisitive, interested. they asked some good questions, and she told me that the students were very happy with my presentation. So it's always nice to get some good feedback. It gives me a little bit more hope, right? Yeah, you like my presentation, it gets through, because I don't feel anyone, not everybody seems to get it, but anyway, it's nice that some people do it, and they seem smart, so they're good. They can get the presentation, and she's always very positive to me. So I'm wondering sometimes why. And then there are student groups there, and they ask some other question, and I understand that their struggle also is different. It's kind of interesting, because of course they are in a conservative more country, and they look into West, but then they also struggle because they have also still this strong Orthodox. They're strong Orthodox in Georgia, right? So they're struggling with this Orthodox identity and modernity. The things we have gone through the West for many years, how to balance that, and I try to give them some good advice. That. And I understand also that Orthodox is very shallow. They're strong on the surface, but lack substance. So it's also here things like. So I feel like we have a way, if we can find ways to help people to strengthen their faith, we need to pull them away. We can just help them to strengthen their faith, because ultimately everything I feel leads to a heavenly parent who can convey that. So here's a picture of in front of renovating the main dome church, white dome church in Finland. Helsinki is their main church. So that's where we were. So yeah, this is time for reflection. So I really feel that what I want to say with this is I feel hope when I do these events, because I have an idea. And when you try to implement the idea, you have some struggles. You go over through the struggles, but then you feel some response. You meet good people. You feel the idea resonates, and you feel also actually God is there. I mean, as I said, I go to these places, I meet this place, you just feel God is there, and that gives me hope. And then I'm just thinking, what should I do in the future? How can I follow up on this? Because the trick is over when you do this event. It was a great event, and then you go back to normal. No, you have to take this as a step further. How can you move further and higher up? And that is the trick always. I always see it to myself, this is a challenge. I did something there, but how do I follow up on it? Not just go back to the bottom again, or start all over new. How can I use that foundation? So gradually, this has been a good foundation. It has helped me. I'm working with other peace groups also, so this is a good foundation. I try to connect with them, and they, say some respect for that. And then I also made a website on this. So I feel this is good to continue connected. I try to develop the website also. Say, this is a platform. Let's develop the website. We can have continuous discussion. But what I want to say to you now is that in 1 year now, I want to declare that we want to have it in August. The best to have it in August. We couldn't have it this year in August or in summer, because we're renovating the concert hall. He likes the concert hall because it's a good marketing thing to show that here the Nobel Prizes are awarded, right? So it's a big marketing. So he's thinking like that. So it's smart to do like that, to attract people. So we want to make a big event. So I'm just thinking that for next year we can maybe plan a hope for next year, how we can be part of this in a better way. I mean, then I'm thinking that we can do another day separate together with them and invite the UPF our UPF contacts, and to be part of this, because it's two ways. It's a good tool to bring people to interact with, and then you have this vertical line that you think about. I'm thinking about we want to build Chonaguk. We want to build a peaceful society. This we want to do it, and we understand that this peace is about peacing with myself. This is our motto. Peace with ourselves will bring peace between us. That's a great motto from Ingmar formulated that. I think I quoted it right. So that's still our motto. We're using that. And so I think it's a platform you can invite people to. And I haven't really reached out to you so much because of this event here, because it was made the day. But now I feel more confident. Next year we should do it even bigger. So you can bring all your contacts, and we can really try to find a way how to make a good strategy, so we can bring a lot of people to this event. So then you have the opportunity to follow up and go on the cruise and do the other thing. That can be optional, but it's a good meeting place. And then you feel maybe we can also be the people who can give hope to other people. It's not only giving, so when we give hope to other people, we feel a lot of hope. And that's the beautiful thing. And then we can really believe that we can really change the trajectory of our society to a more spiritual, more holistic way of thinking. So let me conclude with a prayer.